So now that we've waited about 15 minutes or more for the oils to penetrate deep into this slab, now I'm going to buff off. And my first part of the buff off, I prefer using cotton terry towels. These are small little washcloth type of towels, but I usually like to work with a bigger one, but I think this is what we had on hand today. And I'll use a few of them to initially buff it off and make sure I got it all off the surface, and then I'll come back after I know think I got it all off and hit it with a microfiber towel to just ensure it's all gone. So best way to start buffing off is move in the direction of the grain. It makes it a lot easier in the beginning because this ensures you're getting all that oil out of those and the grain, the little micro pores in the wood, okay? And flip your towel often. Look how dirty that got, right? So I'm gonna do a little bit more on this side still. Now I got most of that off there. I'm gonna start working on this side of the table. Put a little weight into it. And this is the process I always want to see you do by hand at first. Actually, if you're making furniture, do it by hand. If you use a polisher to buff it off, your polishing pad's going to get full of oil immediately, especially if you use too much oil. And then your pad's just going to be spreading oil all over the surface and you're not doing yourself any good. So all that extra effort using the machine and working it in, and those little polishing pads that go on buffers are not cheap. It's just going to get full of oil and you're not buffing off. All you're doing is smearing stuff around. It's like the equivalent of wiping your table off with a wet rag. Well, you're just smearing water all over the place. So make sure your rags are constantly flipped and actually getting oil off the surface. And this is a small table. I mean, this is a good sized table actually. I think it's about 8 feet long. And I'm more than halfway done wiping it off. Big deal. You don't need power tools to do this. And you don't want to use power tools to do this, because if you do, you're going to mess it up. You're not going to get it all off. Common mistake when using Odies. Everybody wants to jump on power tools right away, and they don't even understand how to use the finish yet. And I've seen some pretty capable men cry that it's too hard. Really? Really? Catalina is a young lady who works here. She does it with a full face of makeup, dressed nice, and she gets it done in a jiffy. It's kind of funny that a 25 or 35-year-old, 30-year-old man who's in fairly decent shape can't wipe a table down, has to have a power tool. You don't need them. Not in this case. Now, if you want to come back after you got it all off the surface by hand, you can come back after you got all the oil off the surface and buff it out with a machine. Then what that's doing is setting up the oils that are in there, driving them even deeper into the surface, creating some heat, and it's a good thing. And it's really nice. And actually, that's fine. But if you start using power tools right away on the initial buff off, you're going to fail. And you're going to destroy your buffing pad. It's going to get loaded up. You're going to waste money and time. And you're not going to have a good finish. So I used one rag from my initial buff off on this. And I actually put too much oil on this, more than I'd like to see you guys use on a Brazilian cherry. And this one rag just did my initial buff off. Now I'm going to show you a little trick on how to ensure that you got everything off the surface. And this is a no-no for your first buff off, but it's great for your last. Cotton for your first one, microfiber, clean, nice microfiber towel. We sell these on our website, they're cheap, for your buff off. Easy to do. So this actually gets that last bit of oil that's in the pores off. It just works amazing. It's something I learned when I'm detailing the cars with the Odie's products. We use microfiber when we do our waxes, and this really works really nice to ensure we got all the wax off the car. So always my final buff off is with a microfiber towel. And you can use a microfiber pad on your buffer. Now see, I'm doing this And I can feel the friction of the excess oil that was still on the slab that I thought I had off. This ensures that you got all the excess oil off the surface. And there was more here than I thought. And this is so easy to do. So easy to do. And it's somewhat therapeutic. And you really get to see your finish come alive. And you get in touch with your piece. It's a nice process. Here we go. It's not quite done yet. Oh, we got a little more here to do, John. I can see some oil here. I probably should have wiped it down one more time with a white towel, and I probably will do that now, and then come back to it again one more time with the microfiber, a clean microfiber. And you'll know when you're using this microfiber when you've got it all buffed off, because you'll feel that friction, that drag goes away, and your towel now just slides across the surface with ease. One more time with a clean cotton rag. And I like to use a terry one. T-shirts really aren't the best thing, because step out of the shower and try to dry off with a t-shirt. What happens? Not that easy, right? But grab a nice terry towel and voila, you're dry in a jiffy. Because they're absorbent. Now one more time with the microfiber. And you're done. And if you don't have time for this, then you don't have time to be a woodworker, because sanding, joinery, prep work, all that takes effort. And I can finish this piece faster than any guy will do it with a spray. By the time they set up their spray booth, or mix their lacquer, get their air guns ready, put their respirator on, do their first coat, I'll be done way before they even put that first coat on. Then they got to do a second coat and a third coat, and they got to sand in between coats. They got to wait days. They have to have the right temperature. They got to have the right humidity. They got to have the right mixtures. They got to know what they're doing. They got to move the right way. No dust. They have to have a dust-free environment. I'm not worried about dust. Dust isn't going to stick to this finish. And there she is, a beautiful Brazilian cherry slab, properly finished with a super pen. Now, I am going to put a second coat on this, because I want to put a top coat of Odie's oil on it for that extra sheen, durability, and tactile feeling it offers. So that's the first coat, a super pen. I'm gonna let this sit overnight, and tomorrow, or Monday actually, because it's Friday, we're gonna go ahead and put a coat of Odie's oil on it. So stay tuned for that video. Thanks for joining.